Hi, everybody. You're listening to the Spin Market Report on the Spin Market Podcast Network, where real stories meet real impact. Our podcast network has thousands of local and regional listeners tuning in each week. That means businesses are getting heard and communities are staying connected. Did you want to get your brand in front of a highly engaged audience? Contact Spin Market today at www.spinmarket.com for more information. Now let's get into the episode.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the Spin Market Report. Marketing Monday.
Marketing Monday.
This comes out every Monday. Marketing Monday, of course. So, presented by Spin Market, and we've got two guests with us today. We've got Jen and Julie, and you guys work at Friendship Haven. Can you just quickly kind of describe what your positions are there?
Sure. I'm Jen, and I'm the Director of Engagement. So my role involves really finding ways for people to engage or interact with Friendship Haven. Oh. So I work very closely with our volunteer base, our donor base, and I just get to spend time getting to know people to figure out how they might fit into what we do and how they can be a part of that.
Oh, cool. How
Yes.
about you?
Jen's doing a fabulous job. She's been with us now 2 years, coming up on 2 years in August.
Did you take Raleigh's job?
No.
Or, okay. Oh, Denise's job.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And she transferred into a different job. Okay.
Yep. She's now our chaplain.
Oh, that's right.
Which
Okay.
we've been blessed to have.
She's great.
Amazing team members. And I'm Julie Thorson, and I typically introduce myself as the head coach of Friendship Haven. Sometimes people look at me with a strange look when I say that. I'm technically the president and CEO, but I do a lot of coaching in the role I'm in now.
Nice. So how about the story of Friendship Haven? I saw online 75th year anniversary this year.
Wow.
So that's a lot of years. Can you talk a little bit about how Friendship Haven started and leading up till now, the 75th year anniversary?
Well, the story of Friendship Haven, or the history of Friendship Haven, goes way back. And if you study care for older adults over the years, it's really transitioned over the last 100 years. There was a group of Methodist parishioners that went to Reverend Dr. Clarence Tompkins, and the story goes, can't we do something better for God's older children? Because at that time, people were just kind of living in random homes with random families, and there really was no community or campus for older people. So Dr. Tompkins, along with other folks in the Methodist Church, came up with this idea of building something for God's older children. So the first building that was actually built in 1950 and finished was called Friendship Haven, but it was later named the East Building. And at the time, it was considered state-of-the-art. Looking back, it was really a college dormitory where you had shared bathrooms and shared showers down the hall and just smaller apartments. That was Friendship Haven for a number of years, and then the West Building came soon later. And that was a little, things started evolving. People had their own bathrooms and showers in their apartments by then. So for many years, Friendship Haven was the East Building and the West Building. And then later, Tompkins Memorial Health Center was actually built and designed as a geriatric, I don't know if hospital is the right word, but it was a very institutional nursing home. And that was Friendship Haven, again, for a lot of years. And then slowly but surely, our townhomes started creeping up. And then that was the campus for a lot of years until we went through our major campus renovation. And now it's hard to believe that some of our buildings are actually 20 years old when they have been, our original buildings have come down and been rebuilt. But that's kind of the latter part of the history. But the early Friendship Haven days really were driven because people wanted something better for older folks. And a little known fact about the history of Friendship Haven, Cheryl, I don't know if you know this, but there's two other retirement communities in the state of Iowa that were modeled after Friendship Haven. One is Methwick Community in Cedar Rapids, and the other is Methodist Manor up in Storm Lake.
I have heard that.
Have you heard that?
Yes.
So it's been funny visiting those places, especially Methwick. It's kind of a blast from the past because they have not rebuilt their original building. Wow. So walking down those halls, it reminds me of the West Building. Of course, I've been there since 1999, so I've been a part of taking down the buildings, which is never easy, but also rebuilding the beautiful campus that you see today.
Awesome. So, was the core values for starting this just to take care of the elderly? Because when I recently was at Friendship Haven, I noticed there's a lot of accommodations there. It's not just, and I don't want to say it's not just a nursing home. There's a lot of things for people to do there, a lot of activities, and you have. There's a chapel right there. There's everything there. Mm-hmm. So were there like core values that were kind of helping to guide this along as you were like, okay, we need to build some new buildings and change?
That's a great question. I would say really the design or the idea behind our campus is we were really intentional about trying to create this space that was really under one roof for the most part. The only building outside of the townhomes that has its own roof line is our Journeys building, which is our building to support people living with advanced Alzheimer's or memory care issues. But otherwise, the rest of the building is all under one roof. And wellness, I would say the principles around a wellness lifestyle really help drive the fact that we built a beautiful wellness center with a beautiful swimming pool and the celebration center, like you mentioned, the chapel. But there's also a lot of public space for congregation, for fellowship, for coffee, for cards, for games, for playing pool, for playing darts. So really the concept of the building was built around the programming that was going to happen inside. Not to mention, we have independent living, assisted living, catered living, and then, of course, long-term and skilled care living.
That's great. It's a wide variety. You guys are covering a lot of bases with this, and I think that's really kind of cool. So one of the things I was going to ask was, how do you differentiate yourself from other, I would say, like senior living type places? But I said it earlier, you're not just a nursing home. Nothing against nursing homes, but it's like, you guys have, again, you're covering a wide area here. Is that the only thing that differentiates you, or is there something else? Maybe like something else I'd written down was like, I've noticed that a lot of people there, you're very keyed in on helping people keep their independence as much as possible. Was that something else that kind of helps differentiate you from other places?
Yeah, I think that Friendship Haven offers the full continuum of care, right? So that is different than other places. You can come in and you can move onto campus in a townhome or in an independent apartment. And as your need for additional care arises, it's all there under the same roof, like Julie said, to be able to accommodate that. So you're really able to come in and call Friendship Haven home from the day you move in until the day you leave us. So that's one of the things that definitely sets us apart. I would say, as somebody who's only been there a couple of years, another thing that sets Friendship Haven apart is just the employee base and the culture that is almost alive there. I don't know how else to describe it, but you come in and being new, you can feel that instantly. That everybody who's there, whether it's team members, residents, family members who come in, everybody there feels like family and treats each other like family. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that I feel is really unique to Friendship Haven. And I remind Julie often that, those who've been there a while maybe don't realize how special and unique that is. But I do think that's something else that sets us apart.
Yeah.
One thing that I would add to that is the fact that I've been out there numerous times for different events or whatever. So it's such a welcoming to go out, whether you know anybody that's staying there or not. So it really adds a whole different dynamic, and being able to have people from all over the community come in at any time for different kinds of events, or just to come in and have coffee or whatever, because I know you've had like a store there, a gift shop and a different things. So it's very open to that. And I think that sets it apart very much from what I've seen from other facilities.
Oh, I love to hear that. But Cheryl, you use the F word there. Did you notice that?
What?
We don't use the F word at Friendship Haven. No.
Which F word did I use?
Did you catch it?
I did not. I'm probably keyed in on a different F word.
I know I didn't say that.
No.
You said it's very different than other facilities. We would never call. Would never call Friendship Haven a facility.
Let's edit that. Okay.
No, leave it in.
Okay,
leave it in
okay,
because I think here's the thing: people think about communities or a Friendship Haven, and they might say facility, and this is a really important point because a facility, in my perspective, is an institution. We're not an institution. We are home to nearly 400 people we get to enter somebody's home when we come to work. We don't work at the facility. That feels very cold
Sure.
and
It does have that
unfriendly.
connotation to it.
It does. And I think in our field, that word gets thrown around way too often. And even people that have been doing the work as long as I have still use the word facility. And I just shake my head because you're not getting it. We are home to so many. We are not home-like. We're not homey. We're not a facility. We are home to so many people. So I didn't mean to,
Oh, no,
to
I'm
get you
glad
there.
you brought that up.
But it is important because I think we talk all the time that words matter. And when we throw words around just because that's what we've heard or we think we know, we're making assumptions about places. And just because we're in long-term care, it absolutely does not mean we are a facility.
Well,
I always joke and I say the facility's across the street.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
okay, all right.
Yeah, exactly. If anybody that knows the area, they would understand that
Pull
one.
it up on a map.
Yeah, pull it up on a map. Well, and I think that's, again, something that we need to bring up about
Yeah,
Friendship Haven.
absolutely.
Is the openness and it's not your traditional, what you would be thinking when you're going there. And like I said, people are coming in all the time for different events and different things out there. So it's very welcoming. It's you walk in and you feel like you're just at somebody else's home. It's
You're
just
at
a
a
lot bigger.
residence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
We tell people all the time, and I encourage everybody to make a plan for your future because there are a lot of people that come to Friendship Haven because they have to. But there's a good group of people out there that have come to Friendship Haven because they want to. They want to take advantage of the lifestyle. They want to take advantage of the opportunities. And they want to make a plan for their future should they ever need more assistance. They don't have to worry or wonder, or their children don't have to worry or wonder about what would I do if. Once you come to Friendship Haven, you're at Friendship Haven. You're never asked to leave, regardless of your health conditions or your financial resources, because of the great work Jen does through our Good Samaritan Fund, which we're going to talk about, I'm sure, and our Care Trust Fund. You know, people can come in and not have any health issues or any health concerns, be feeling great, but just really want to make a plan for their future and give their children a gift. For many years, I was on the sales end of things. And when I would counsel with people, they're like, we don't want our kids to have anything to do with what we're going to do in the future. We're making these decisions. And I loved working with people like that because that tells me that they're really taking ownership of how they're growing older and what they want their plan to be for the future. So it's really sometimes, people have insurance policies all the time. And, you never really want to have to use your insurance policy. But Friendship Haven is that lifestyle, plan, just in case things do change. And we know that people decline in their older years, not because of the aging process, but because of what happens with isolation. Sometimes a fall can really set somebody back. And, we have people in their 90s working out in the wellness center, and, a fall is the furthest thing from their mind. But things happen. And when you need a safety net to catch you, Friendship Haven is that safety net to catch you.
And that is one of the things that really makes it unique
Absolutely.
out there, is that you can go into one of the townhouses and stay there for 10 years or whatever and keep just moving up into additional, whatever facility within the organization is there.
Whichever neighborhood.
Neighborhood. Okay, cool. That's
like
good.
that,
I like
yes.
that too. Yes, very neat.
I noticed you said it again.
Right?
The correction there.
I caught myself.
It's Friendship Haven, not Facility Haven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things you did mention, Cheryl, though, was there's a lot of events there. And I've noticed that either in passing or when I was making some of these notes up, I was like, oh, you have this event and you have that event and you have these things. And are these public? Can people come to these if they want to? Like example I had written down was Hilltop Fest. Is that a public event that people can go to?
I'll let Jen take that one. Definitely.
Yeah, so Hilltop Fest has been our annual fundraiser for the Good Samaritan Fund for the past
Oh gosh.
6, 8.
It's
been over 15.
Okay,
actually.
long time. So this year, though, with our 75th anniversary, we are not holding Hilltop Fest.
Oh, really?
And so in place of that, as part of our Legacy Week, we'll be holding Legacy Night, which is then will become our fundraiser for the Good Samaritan Fund this year. So that is obviously very open to the public. There'll be other events throughout Legacy Week that we can talk about in particular too that will be as well. But, most everything on campus is open to whoever wants to come. We bring various performers in. So we'll have musicians come in. I think one of the gals is looking for a magician right now that she wants to bring in.
Cool.
Just different things for entertainment. Bingo at least once a week, sometimes twice. We've been holding Wind Down Wednesday a couple times a month where residents gather with some live music and bring their own drinks and snacks. And all of those things are open to the public. We want to get people onto campus so they can see campus, feel campus, experience what it's all about, and everything that it does have to offer.
All right. So one of the things I had on here was you have a bell dedication and a ribbon cutting coming up, your 75th anniversary. I remember hearing a little bit about this on the Alliance Connection podcast that you guys were on, but can you talk a little bit about the bell dedication? Because it's been around. It's the original bell, right?
Yeah, it is the original bell from the chapel on the hill that was on campus.
That's wild.
Yeah, so when they demolished the chapel, they stored the bell, and so we brought it out last fall and have had it refinished, refurbished, and got it looking good. And so now our plan is to permanently display that bell outside of our welcome center.
That would be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that will be done as a tribute to Reverend Dr. Tompkins, who founded us. That ceremony will take place on Wednesday, June 25th at 4:30 in the afternoon. It will be the dedication ceremony, a ribbon cutting, all of that kind of tied into one.
I was going to say, I thought the ribbon cutting was that day too.
Yeah, yeah. All of that tied into one. And so, we're very grateful for a gift from one of our residents, John Zuer, who is helping fund the project itself for the bell display. And then following that gathering, we'll have a reception in the Welcome Center and hopefully outside, weather permitting. And that is graciously being funded by Jim's Carpet One. So we're lucky to have a lot of support for the projects we do from within the community, both our Friendship Haven community and the greater Fort Dodge community. And that is one of those events that we would welcome whoever wants to come out and be a part of. We do anticipate a couple of special guests. Not ready to roll out who those are going to be, but there will be that little bit of a surprise element to the ceremony too.
Is that going to be announced at the event?
Yes.
And the event will be on your social medias, I'm sure.
Yes.
All right. Now I'm going to have links down below, so you don't even have to hunt for it. Just click on the social media links.
We will make sure that you're covered on all platforms out there.
Absolutely.
Love it.
So another thing I had on here was Spirit Week. Spirit Week leads up to this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
or it's the week of.
the week of.
Yes.
Okay. So what are residents and staff doing during Spirit Week? Like what exactly is Spirit Week? Can we kind of
We're having a lot of fun during Spirit Week. That's what we're doing during Spirit Week. Spirit Week will run that Monday through Friday, so the 23rd through 27th. And each day has a theme. So we'll have a dress-up theme for the day that residents and staff can participate in. I think the Monday kicks off with pajamas,
I was just going to say, where's pajama day?
right? So everybody loves that. And then in addition to that, there's always, we bring a food truck in every day that week just for some fun over lunch, get people outside and
Which
enjoying.
anybody can come to.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. And then there's also usually just some kind of activity each day. So whether that's things like, I think there's some Friendship Haven trivia planned for a day. Our activities team has planned a fishing game of some kind for one day. There's a day where likely both of us will have water balloons thrown at us for a day.
Okay. No dunk tank. No dunk tank.
No dunk
Tank.
tank.
We've
No
done
dunk
that,
tank.
been there, done that. We're not doing that again.
Yeah, the water balloons are a little easier than that. So just lots of fun things that take place really to try and engage our team members in the week as well as residents.
Awesome. So, Julie, you had mentioned you'd been there at Friendship Haven. Have you been the CEO for the last 20-ish, 25 years?
I've been, let me do some quick math. No, I've been the CEO since 2012.
Okay.
And I've been with Friendship Haven outside of 2 years that I went over and spent some time at Unity Point. since 1999.
Awesome. So
I'm aging myself. I was 12 when I started.
yes, of course. But as the CEO, has your vision changed over the years? I mean, it's been only 10 or 12 years or so as a CEO, but like, has your vision changed? And if it has, like, how have you helped kind of guide Friendship Haven into your vision?
That's a great question. I wouldn't say it's my vision ever, but I would say we are an organization that most of us can repeat our vision, mission, values on demand. Our vision is people living full lives with faith, passion, and purpose. And Jen being a new, I'm confident that she could repeat them all too, being a newer employee, but that people living full lives is so important. We want Friendship Haven to complement your life, not be a distraction. With faith, we talked about our heritage of being a part of the Methodist Church originally. We are still related by faith, but we are non-denominational. In fact, we have a priest that lives on campus that does daily mass, but faith is a cornerstone of our organization. Passion, on our name tags, you won't see roles or titles. You'll see our passion, our purpose, and that's very much a part of our culture that we talk about our passion or we talk about our purpose. And then living purposeful lives, and that's whether we work or live there, we want people to, live life with purpose. So whether that's volunteering or whether that's singing in the choir or playing bells in the bell choir or being a part of the creative writing club. I mean, there's just so many opportunities to continue living life with faith, passion, purpose. And then our mission, of course, is to offer innovative and responsive services to aging adults. So innovation, I do think, is a core value since 1950 of Friendship Haven, because the thought when we, started was that we're doing something that nobody else is doing. And I think we continue to try to do that now, but then also being responsive. I mean, when I was doing sales, the thought of high-speed internet was like, why would anybody need residents don't need high-speed internet. Now, if we didn't have high-speed internet, we wouldn't hear the end of it, because so we have to continue to be a responsive organization. And then our values are to respect, encourage, celebrate, and learn. We do a great job of celebrating. We're celebrating all the time, but we're also a learning organization. And I think in my role, that starts with me. If I was a CEO that thought in any way, shape, or form that I knew it all, we would not be successful. I think I'm continuing learning, and we are all continuously learning, and that's a big part of who we are. And then respect is just a core value of what we try to do. So the encouragement piece, we are encouraging even as needs change. We still want people to have that spirit of being encouraged and encouraging others. So that really hasn't changed since since the board of directors in 2012 decided that I was the right person to lead the organization. We keep recommitting to that almost every year, if not every year. So really that mission, vision, values is just, it's a part of who we are. And I don't know, Jen, if you would say have you felt that being a newer employee, did you get that? Do you feel like you got that right away?
Yeah, I definitely think that helps create the culture that does exist. Like I said, you can walk down the halls and feel that, like it's palpable at times, some of those pieces that are there. And that is such an important and unique piece to who we are. And it doesn't surprise me that it hasn't changed, because it is just core of what Friendship Haven is about.
Yeah, we'll say very friendly people there. When I walked in to do something for work down there, instantly greeted by two people, and it's like I felt welcomed to be there. And it's not like I didn't feel welcome to be other places, but it was just kind of nice to be like, oh yeah, hey, how are you guys doing? Well, smiling
is a requirement. Okay. We joke about that, but our customer service mantra, thanks to Raleigh, you mentioned Raleigh Peterson earlier, are the stage rules. So when someone starts with us, we talk openly about the stage rules, and the stage rules are to smile and greet, tell and show, answer positively, give something extra, and end with anything else. So right away, day one, people are learning about the stage rules. And if they remember nothing, if they remember to smile and greet, I'm pretty happy with that, because I mean, could you imagine walking into a place where you're considering living and people are walking around with
Scowl on
my
the face or
my
something?
job sucks. I mean, that's not fun. So I'm glad to hear that when you've come to visit our campus, that people were smiling and greeting
Absolutely.
you.
They even helped guide me to where I was supposed to go. So
perfect.
it was-
2 for 2.
I mean, everything you described was like exactly how it went. So that's really kind of cool.
Good.
That is, it's just neat to know that this is your guys's, like you said, mission and core values, and you can actually see it like in all the workers. This is something the board of directors decided you're helping kind of regulate and make sure this all happens, and it is all happening. It's not just like we're saying this just to say it. It's actually a thing that's happening, and I think that's one of the coolest parts about it.
I get to go to a lot of communities like Friendship Haven all over the country, and I'll say in rooms sometimes, tell me your mission, vision, values, and people kind of look down, or I can look it up, or they'll get on their phones, and that tells me something. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I think having those principles kind of direct you and guide you is so important. And I do think we've done a good job at that. We could always do better. I mean, we have nearly 400 people that work with Friendship Haven, and I would be lying if I said that I felt confident every single employee could recite that. But my hope is that more do than don't, and I feel pretty confident in that.
Yeah, I believe you said 400-ish employees. And how many residents did you have?
About the same.
I was going to say, when I listened to the Growth Alliance podcast, you guys talking, I was like, that's like a 1-to-1 ratio of employees.
Well, it's not quite there. So the 400 employees, that's full and part-time. And of course, with our residents, that census fluctuates. I think it's probably right around 480-ish, depending on the day, because that changes every day.
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of cool. I was like, I would have never known there was 400 people working out there. It's just really kind of a cool thing.
Well, you notice it when you try to find someplace to park.
Yeah.
Some days parking is a little bit of a challenge.
Yep. So Jen, you are the director of engagement. How do you foster a sense of community, maybe within Friendship Haven or with the outside community of Fort Dodge in the area?
Sure, that is a great question. I think really a big piece of that is just being visible. And so I have an office, but I spend a lot of time outside my office. And I mean, there's a couple residents who will pop by and they're like, I've been trying to find you for 3 days now because I'm not in my office much. And I think that's a big part of creating that energy and that connection is just me being out, spending time with residents and their families, getting to know them individually and figuring out, hey, do you want to contribute in some way to this community that you live in? A lot of our residents volunteer on campus for us. And so, making sure that we're getting to know them well enough that we can find a fit that makes sense for them and for us so that it's fulfilling a need and a want and a purpose for them, but it's also fulfilling a need and a purpose for us. And so I spend a lot of time at the coffee table, just sitting and chatting with residents. I go to lunch with residents on a regular basis. I just try to connect with them however I can. Different activities that take place, I'll go and just, how can I help? And just be there and be a part of it. And sometimes those are the most impactful things because conversations take place that you couldn't anticipate or plan for. And so you learn a lot about the residents, about their past, about what mattered to them, what they value, and then you find ways for that to still fit in to the community in which they live. Community-wise, it's similar. It's getting to know those people in the community that have a connection to Friendship Haven or have had a connection to Friendship Haven, and how do we continue to keep them engaged? How do we continue to keep them coming back? And so post-COVID, we are now in an era where we have quite a few community volunteers who come in and spend time on our campus. They are now recruiting their friends to come spend time on our campus and do that for us. And it's fun to see that. It's fun to see, particularly when we have younger students and volunteers come in. We have groups come from the college next door. Iowa Central is a great partner with us. St. Ed's has been a fantastic partner sending students to us. Right now I'm working with the health occupations teacher at senior high about trying to send some students to us in volunteer capacities. But a lot of those kids are kids who want to go on and work in healthcare somehow. And whether that ends up being long-term care or something different, it's a great way to engage them with us so that they can see what things are about. Our residents thoroughly enjoy having
I'm
young
sure they
people
do.
on campus and the energy that they bring. So it really is just about spending time with people, talking with people, getting to know them, and then finding the fits that are the best.
I love that. That's really good. So you guys, it sounds like you guys work really well together. I mean, I'm sure the whole team at Friendship Haven is the same way, but can you guys describe maybe an example of a challenge that you guys have overcome? Maybe not just you two together, but as a whole, like a challenge that you've overcome at Friendship Haven. I'm sure building the new buildings was a challenge in and of itself, but do you have any examples of things that were something that, you know, it just needed to get done and you guys got it done, and when it was all over, everything was better for it?
That's a good question. Okay, so I will. You talked about how Jen and I work together. Jen and I are very, very different people. Yes. we are extremely different people, but we have done a really good job. We're big believers in strength finders. And so when Jen started, made sure for her to do the Strength Finders assessment, so I could kind of know a little bit more about how she works, and she knows my strengths. So a lot of our leadership team members have taken the Strength Finders. So we've done a good job of appreciating what each other does well, even when those things are very, very different, because you don't want to build a team. I certainly wouldn't want to build a team of Julie's. Nothing would ever get done. Nothing would ever get done. Jen, I call often the taskmaster, because she has this unique set of abilities to develop really strong, meaningful connections with people, which is what she needs to do with the development piece. But she's extremely organized and is just a taskmaster. I mean, pulling off a week of events like we're going to do that week of in June, she's been the mastermind behind that. So I think that as an organization, that's something that we've done really well, is learning each other's strengths, appreciating each other's differences, not faulting each other for thinking a different way. So just with our leadership team members especially, I think we've done a good job with that. As far as a challenge, tearing buildings down is always emotional. Tearing buildings down that people have felt a connection to, or having to stop programs. During COVID, we had an adult day program, and that was it was an amazing program, but to our core and to who we are, we ended up going a different direction. That was absolutely a challenge. So our Schmoker building now has been repurposed, and change and making changes for the organization with the future minded is never an easy thing. I would contribute the success of that is our board of directors being aligned with us and supportive of us, and our team members. We take a lot of time trying to explain the why. And I think we've done a really good job of that. So even when there is change, and even when there are changes that not everybody likes, we try to spend time explaining it wasn't just an overnight decision. It wasn't just a fly-by-night decision. It was a thought out decision, and not everybody's going to like every decision you make. I think the first year I was CEO, I thought that was my job, is to make sure everybody liked every decision and everybody was happy. And bottom line is, my dad always told me, if you try to make people happy all the time, you'll end up pleasing nobody. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's just kind of always been in the back of my mind too, as we've thought about the past, present, and future of Friendship Haven.
Isn't it amazing how that one word, why, can make such a big difference?
Absolutely.
In a conversation, if you're trying to get everybody to focus on something and just say, okay, what's our why?
And what we often do is go back to, what is our mission? What is our vision? And try to make decisions based on those things.
That's fun, because like the next question was staff development and retention, and you kind of like went through that. And I feel like this has been kind of the basis of all this is you have a board of directors, you have a mission and vision statements, and you just make sure everybody is kind of on board with what you have as a goal for an end game for this. And I think that's one of the best parts about this. But do you have is there anything you do specifically to promote staff development or retention? Because it's got to be tough to keep 400 people on board all the time, Well,
in healthcare in general, staffing, especially through COVID, has been a huge challenge. I mean, there's been a nurse shortage, obviously. In our field, a lot of times people resort to using what's called agency staffing, where you bring people from the outside in to help fill those gaps. And we've never brought in agency staff. That's just something we haven't done. As far as staff retention, we can always do more. That's something that's never like, oh, check that box. It's a constant thing. But we do have a pretty, I would say, robust leadership development program where I get the opportunity to be with groups of leaders. One program is called the Friendship Haven Journey, and that's for 5 to 6 months. Another is the Friendship Haven Leadership Academy, and that's a year-long leadership academy. So we've really been intentional about being focused on leadership development, because a lot of people just want to be invested in and know that somebody sees potential in them. So that's a big part of what we try to do for staff development, staff retention, leadership development. You know, how can I grow as a leader is a question all of us are constantly asking ourselves and constantly talking about.
What about upcoming expansions or upcoming projects? It doesn't have to be expansions, but are there any projects or expansions you guys have maybe that you're eyeing down the road? It kind of goes along with the next question. Like, as everything changes, as the needs of people changes, like you said, high-speed internet, never would have needed it 20 years ago. Now, absolute necessity. Are there anything that's changing within the next decade that you're like, this is our next goal. We're going to keep moving the goalposts forward?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything.
No, we are constantly looking at what are the next steps for Friendship Haven. We fortunately are not landlocked. We have 20 acres or so that's undeveloped. We don't have anything to announce right now, but I will tell you, our townhome waiting list is very healthy and very strong. There is an absolute need for townhome living, which is independent living in a beautiful park-like setting. But we don't have any plans to announce today, but stay tuned. You'd never know.
Again, social media links, website, it's all down below. So go ahead and click that. All right. So we're getting close to the end here, but we got 75-year anniversary. 75 years is a long time for anybody to be doing anything, for any company to exist, anything. So you got to hang your hat on the 75 years. But what about the next 75 years? What do you think is going to happen in the next 75 years? Are the changes going to be so vast we won't be able to comprehend them now? Or
they're going to open up a number 2 Friendship Haven on the moon. How about that?
Open one up for people like me in their 30s so we can hang out there too.
Yeah, I mean, healthcare and long-term care specifically, there are so many things changing with regulations and requirements that we always have to be aware of that and nimble to that. You know, I could talk about the future for a long, long time, but I also want to make sure we haven't even told you who's headlining our event for Legacy Nights.
Who do you have? Drum roll?
That was my drum roll.
We don't have the drum roll button over there.
Darn, we don't have the...
No.
There you go.
Right.
Who do we got?
So for Legacy Night, which will take place on Friday, June 27th, out on our campus, we have entertainment going to come back by popular demand. We're bringing back the dueling pianos of Mike and Andy. So really excited about that. We're going to have a dessert bar, so several different types of desserts that people can munch on while they're out there enjoying the music. And then we'll also have raffle prizes that people can support that way. Those will be available on site, and then also will be available through a website. So if people want to participate and support us who maybe can't attend that night, that's a way you could do that. And then we will conclude that evening with a fireworks display.
Cool.
So really trying to...
And being on the hill like that, I mean, all the different areas in the community that are going to be able to see that.
Gosh.
Yes.
Very cool to see it for ways away.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the week really is going to honor our past and where we've come from and how we began. And it's a chance for us to celebrate what Friendship Haven is today and the people who are a part of it today. And then really also to envision the future, support the future through the fundraiser, and then wrap up the week with the worship service, which will do some blessings for our future.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it should be a really impactful week of events that we hope people will come out and join us for.
I do want to say again, Dueling Pianos, public event. People can go from.
Oh, yeah.
If
Yes.
you have not seen these guys
They're
play
so
dueling piano,
fun.
it is so fun. If you even have the tiniest inkling of any sort of interest in this, I highly suggest you go. And then you can also check out Friendship Haven while you're there. That's going to be the funnest part about that too. So that's really cool, the Dueling Pianos.
Yeah. And we've worked with them and encouraging them to play music from throughout the decades. So starting in the 50s. So when we
cool.
were founded, and then trying to play through the decades to kind of tie in with that anniversary celebration. So tickets are $20 a piece, which I think is a pretty good price point for an evening of entertainment and
Absolutely.
dessert.
And fireworks.
And fireworks.
Yeah.
Fireworks, yeah. So available on campus at Friendship Haven now. So
And online, right?
they will be online. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Again, links are down below. So we're getting close to the end of this. And this is a question I ask everybody here. Has there been a time in your life where marketing has impacted you and you possibly didn't know it? Because we work at a marketing firm here. So we do digital marketing and all sorts of other marketing, actually. So this podcast is marketing. But has there been a time where marketing impacted you? Maybe at work, maybe in your personal life. And you're just like,
great question.
I didn't really
That's a
realize
good
this.
question.
I didn't really realize this until now. I always used to give the example of food. I'm always just like, I don't want to, I'm never thinking about ice cream, but as soon as I see like a Blizzard upside down, I'm like, I'm going to get one of those or whatever. Can't wait for the new Dairy Queen come back here in Fort Dodge. I did see something about they're going to bring one back here, I think.
It's
So
being built right now,
Woohoo!
but it's on the other side of town. So we're going to have to really plan that because it'll be melted by the time you come back
that's
to the
true.
office.
That's true. Well, we're just going to have to take a
Well,
vacation over
there you go. Yeah,
I would
lock
say,
up and go and have DQ.
There you go. I would say right now, so Nikki Conrad is our marketing director, and she's been doing all our promotions for Friendship Haven, but also all our promotions for Legacy Week. But she's just doing so many cool things that I think are having maybe not all the time immediate impact, but long-term impact. For example, she had this wild campaign that was hilarious with the Little Dodger, the Fort Dodge Senior High newspaper.
Okay.
And we would have to say, what are you trying to say? So she was doing, what do you even call it? Like teen speak, but through
text.
Through text. And I thought, well, Nikki, what are you doing? But then I hear that the kids are talking about it and that they're excited about it. So for anyone to say that marketing doesn't have an impact on your business is just a fool, because it's essential. And I think how over the last 2 years or almost 2 years that Nikki's been with us, I think our social media presence has increased dramatically, and just awareness. I just think awareness that we're not a facility, we're not an old folks' home, we're a place where people go to live with faith, passion, and purpose. So I think marketing absolutely has a direct impact on our success.
I loved what you said about how it might not have the immediate impact, but down the road it has a big impact. And that's one of my favorite things about marketing, is because that's as crazy as it sounds. You're tying marketing and branding together,
Right.
because branding
Yes.
is when you go down the road and you're still thinking about this thing, or you're
Yes.
thinking, where am I? I'm 37, and in 30 years I'm going to need to think about retiring. Where am I going to go? I already have Friendship Haven top of mind.
Yeah.
So those are the things I love when something has that impact down the road and it just keeps growing. It snowballs.
Love to hear it.
And sometimes the craziest things have the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And there's a method to the madness there, but just we see that all the time, and we do it all the time too.
It's fun.
Or I'll propose that to a client and they'll go, oh, I hadn't thought about that, and we do it and they go, it didn't apply to anything that they were doing, but it had such an impact that
Let's go for it.
let's go for it.
Yep. I just think really just anytime you can use a story in the marketing. I mean, the stories really are what tugs at people. That's where you feel the connection. And when you can make that connection, right, through what you're seeing or reading or hearing, that's when you start to have the impact. And so, it's not about necessarily the colors and the fonts and all those things that you would maybe tie more to branding than marketing, but it's truly about words matter, right? And so the stories that we tell and the stories we're able to share, and the impact that those can have and make, I think is what I really take away from it.
I love this. This has been really great. Jen, Julie, I want to say thank you guys for sitting down and talking with me. Is there anything before we close out the episode that you want to reiterate to the listeners?
I would just, if you have never been to our campus, this is a great time to come out. What a fun evening, on that 27th, but also the 25th, having the ribbon cutting and having kind of that's going to be kind of a more ceremonial event. We would love to have people come out. So I would say if you've been out to our campus, come back. If you've never been, this is a great time to come.
I would highly suggest somebody go because I was pleasantly surprised and I really liked it there, and again, dueling pianos, fireworks, there's always something going on there, which was one of the funnest things when I was like, what kind of questions am I going to ask? I was like, there's a lot of events going on here. So that was really kind of fun. So I do want to say thank you guys very much for joining us on the podcast here.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations on 75 years and here's to 75 more.
Perfect. Thank you.
I've got one more thing to add.
Oh, yeah.
We have a little tradition that we've started.
Yes.
Buster the Bulldog.
Oh, okay.
And Buster, he has a reason that he's called Buster the Bulldog. We are bulldogs to get our clients marketed in digitally, whatever out there. But we always want you to rub Buster's head for good luck. Oh. Yes, he's all full of good luck.
How heavy is Buster?
Not
He's not light.
He can be lifted if he needs to.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, look at this. He's missing his tail. We did dock his tail. So.
Yeah.
Buster's head.
And you'd be amazed at how shiny his head has gotten over the last few months on there. But we wish you the best of luck on everything.
Appreciate it.
And just think of Buster every time that something good happens.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Click the links down below. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.